Hi, it's Colette from the Sacred Rose Temple. I have been busy being away on holiday trying to catch a break and been going through some really deep work with my Jungian analysis and my Jungian individuation work that I've been doing this year, and I'm feeling pretty raw. Lots is opening in my own inner world as well as in the outer world and the experience around me in the country and the path that I decided to take in my own life. And I just wanted to jump on to say a few things really with regards to what I'm seeing out there happening. And there seems to be just there's this switch that needs to flick in our humanity and in society and in our evolutionary consciousness that switches and lets us know that we're the problem here in this big debacle that's happening in the world. I still see loads of people like spreading fear, like sharing the same story, the same conditions, the same limitations, and we all know what they are, we all know what's going on. And there comes a point that spreading the same message and over again becomes an ally really to the power that is trying to force us into evolving more as humans. So that's the first part. The second part is about blaming, like the cabal, the dark, whatever structure you see this as, the powers that be, the elite. There's many names, but basically that structure, that darker structure that we're all naming different names, is a collective of our own dark, our own shadow. And these energies, beings, structures only can survive because they feed off the low vibrational energy, the human shadow, the unrecognized behaviors within ourselves. So when I was illuminated in that through the work that I've been doing, I made a hard, fast decision really, and a unconscious drive to become part of the healing of what's going on rather than being just sat in a room shouting about it or protesting and it falling on deaf ears. I wanted to actually take control of where I might be colluding with that darker energy and in my own behaviours and in the unrecognised places that I was still playing small and unable to help what's happening at a greater level. It's very narcissistic for us to benefit or to profit from what's going on out there, and I see that also happening very, very sadly. I also see a lot of ignorance. It's a shame that I've, been friends and recognised and worked with many teachers who are shunning what's going on out in our world, and that for me is a big red flag. It's like, how can you separate anything, any work that a person needs to do on themselves with what's currently happening in the climate? It's totally not separable, and if that's being separated or excluded, then there's definitely shadow there. And my work loves to focus on the shadow because it's where over, I say 25 years, it's more now of self-growth that I have discovered where the real work happens and where we stop telling stories or we just stop spreading knowledge or watching videos or that kind of thing and actually start to do some real work and make some real changes on the self. And that affects the microcosm around us, and then the macrocosm, it goes out. So that's the main important message really I wanted to share, and I've shared this many times, is that we are the problem. We are the problem here individually, and historically the same problem keeps coming up. There's this problem where we blame the elite or the powers or the king or the government, and it's actually us that give those establishment the powers. I was only sharing today, The BBC, for example, is a very dark structure where for many years things have gone on with that establishment and people still pay their TV licenses in the UK and they still support that channel and they still watch it, even though they knew, say, for example, Jimmy Savile was one of the biggest celebrity paedophiles out there, and that was hidden and hidden and hidden for years. And he was protected by that establishment, and people were outraged, and then they got over it, and they still pay their TV license, or they still watch programs affiliated with that channel. And that's really disturbing to me. It's not the structure, it's the people. The structure would never ever exist without the people. In time that's happened, we keep referring to like the apartheid that's happened, and that was instilled by all people. The few that put that in place could not have upheld that without the support of the people, and I see that happening now. Personally, in France, having chosen not to have the vaccine, I am not allowed to go into restaurants or cafes, and I see people I know upholding that. I see people I know not allowing me into the establishment unless I show the pass. And that's up to them and their karma, and they have to live with themselves to be so discriminatory and to be upholding another apartheid that is the new modern apartheid, which is medical apartheid, as opposed to colour or race or religion. And during all of our time, all of the horrific atrocities that have been done to humans have been done by the collective, by most people upholding. Look at the witches, the witch hunts. If the whole of society just said, no, you're not taking these women, what would those few witch hunters have done? So we need to begin to start to realise that what is happening out there is fully supported by us as humans, and we have to individually ask ourselves, how am I supporting a corrupt system? How am I unable to, how can I help myself look at what I'm unable to see? Because this is very important. When you work psychologically and spiritually psychologically, as I do, you start to realise that there is a lot that is not conscious. To claim that we are conscious beings is a really big claim, because we're not. We are mostly dealing with our unconscious matter. What is conscious is very, very small, and the behaviours that are happening are mostly unconscious. People, like, I know friends who have cafes here, if they were conscious, if they were really conscious and willing to own that by preventing people into their establishment, that they were upholding a corrupt system, that they were being part of apartheid, that they were also being discriminatory, that they were not being inclusive, and if they could sit with the fact that how that affected people in their everyday life and the children and families, then they might not close their cafes to people who are unvaccinated. They may look for other ways, and it is possible. So making the unconscious conscious is really important, but also really flipping difficult, really difficult. And this is the work I do on myself with the help of an analysis to see what unconscious matter that I am, not dealing with or I don't know, and how that's affecting me, my family, my loved ones, and the world around me. And it's difficult work, and it's ugly work, because that work takes you into realising that you are flawed, realising that your behaviour is shitty at times, realising that there's certain wounds in you that are highly charged emotionally and that they project out on other people. A whole barrel of stuff that's just far too much to go in this short video that I wanted to record. But the key there is about making the unconscious conscious. How do you do that? How are you working to make yourself aware of the ways in which you are supporting, and do not for 1 minute think that you are not supporting this movement, because that already is a huge red flag of the shadow if you think that you're not colluding with what's happening out in the world. And if every single one of us took on that task as a priority of looking how we are colluding with this darkness, then the world would change much quicker, and you would. And that's the truth. I witnessed a whole society of people when I travelled down to the south of France for a holiday with the family that were not colluding with the structure. And I have friends here that are saying, well, I can't open my cafe for everyone because I'll get fined, for example. And this society had found how to do that, how to work around that, how to not exclude, and they were not excluding. There was not one place that we went to that was being excluding or applying medical apartheid, and that gave me some hope for humanity. It really did. It allowed me to see that there are pockets of people that are working in integrity, that know even if, you know, a power that B tries to enforce something that is just morally not okay, that person will stand up and say, no, I do not conform, and I will not apply this because it's not right. And that's the important message from that trip for me, is that we have to find the right community, don't we, that tries to look for the alternative ways in not excluding. And for me, and upholding my own integrity recently, you know, working somewhere, trying to work somewhere that wanted to enforce, and I didn't allow that enforcement. I wouldn't stand by that, and I wouldn't even sneakily work somewhere that tried to say, you can't work here unless you do what I think is the right thing to do. That's just not okay for me. So in an integral way, trying to find where you are supporting the dark structure in any form. You know, if you're resonating or hiding and colluding with people that hold an opinion that excludes others, you know, you're part of the problem. So I really wanted to share that with you. The biggest thing here that I have been working on myself and with other people is working within the body to find the places that are harbouring our wounds, that are harbouring shadow, that are harbouring deep wounds from childhood, past life, this life, and trying to bring them into the light so that they can come up for healing. And that's the key thing. I think when I worked before with like the chakra system, when I was working with Eastern methodology, which I'm trying to really, and have moved away from, is trying to find what works and sits ancestrally with me. And the whole structure of the body, the whole endocrine system, is governed by emotions. And so I've really worked with that on people because I've always been able to see that in people's bodies. I can see where they're holding on to certain problems and where emotions are blocked, and I'm really good at getting into those places with people so that they can lift that unconscious matter, stuff they're not aware of, and bring it into consciousness so they can begin to work with it and see how that pain, that wound, that emotion may be ruling their life or controlling their life or affecting the relationship that they're having with people around them. And my work is known for this, and that's why people come to me for one-to-one sessions and often come to my courses for that. And I've been getting an increasing amount of people asking me to do some training on that. So I've been sat with it for a while thinking, how can I merge some modalities together? And I was finally gifted with the course, the Modern Myrophore. And this is a course that is going to be a great tool if you wish to work on yourself and do have like some self-discovery of the places in you that are unconscious are harboring problems for you, or behaviors or patterns in your life. But it's also a great tool for those of you who are teachers who work with yoga, because this is how I fused my healing work with yoga. I used to teach yoga and get people to connect physically to their body, and then energetically, and then emotionally, so that there could be some consciousness to their own woundings and pains and troubles and worries. And so we're going to be doing this virtually online. It's going to involve a practice each week. It's a 7-week long course. You will get a practice each week so that you can begin to delve into those areas. And the practice can be used with other people when you decide to use this with other people, or if you don't, you're just using it as a self toolkit, that's also fine. And we will be delving into those emotional centers and finding what's in those centers, and what, common strands are held within the endocrine system and within the emotional centers of the body. I'm also going to be working with sacred oils, because many of us hold a deep lineage of working with the oils, and how essential oil can help to support your own healing journey, how they are really beautiful spirits of nature that really wish to come in and help lift, soothe, give a very sacred balm to your body in the places that it's hurting. So we will be using the oils as well, 7 sacred oils that the Myrophores would have used in order to work deeper in those places and have a beautiful tool as well as a medicine. So this course, I'm really looking forward to teaching. I will only be offering a small set of places as normal. I like to work very intimately and deeply with people. It will be held in a private forum where you will be able to express what's going on with you, and we'll be able to work deeper into those places as I guide you into the wounds of those places. And there will be a call a week which will introduce you to the sacred oil that we will be using, and into the energy center and exactly what that energy center holds. So I think this is really important for me to step up and hand out all this knowledge that I have, 25 years of hoarding and seeking all this work, and I really should be giving it out more, and I'm trying to find ways to do that at the moment. So this would be that opportunity. It is a really important time to be doing work, and I'm seeing a lot of keyboard warriors out there using time to think that sharing and spreading fear is helping. But the biggest help that we could all do is just take a look at ourselves right now, and to find the ways in which we are supporting, colluding, and behaving in a way that supports the manifestation of the darkness, as big as it is today. And that collective consciousness is really, really speaking to us at the moment, and it will begin to grow and grow and get bigger and bigger until we are conscious of its movement and why it is gathering. And I've explained all that in this short video to you all. So I really hope that I get a deep, rich group of people to work with who will be using this to work on themselves, or will be choosing to work with these materials with other people. Lord knows we need to reach out to as many people as we can. So I'll share the links for the course underneath this video. If any of you feel like working with me one-to-one, then I have some availability. I've actually just finished working with 2 people in a private container, so I have some space for working with people one-to-one. And my transmissions that I give out occasionally in the depth of the courses that I'm already running are always being shared on my mailing list, so make sure that you're joined up to my mailing list. I really wish you all deep diving into yourselves. I really, really pray heavily in this current climate that people can begin to take themselves inward and to really begin to see themselves, and so we can change this world as we know it. The history repeating itself over and over and over again is really tiresome and part of the evolution of our souls, of course, but we can change it. So here's praying for a new earth and a new world where people are more conscious. So bye for now.